We begin with this morning's top story, the impact of the government shutdown on the nation's air travel system. The FAA says nearly half of the 30 busiest airports are dealing with a shortage of air traffic controllers. That contributed to a wave of flight delays across the country Friday, more than 5,700 nationwide. And last night at New York's LaGuardia Airport, two planes collided on the runway. Allie Bauman is here with more. Allie, good morning.
Good morning, Michelle.
Bro, am I cooked? I'm doing mad domestic and international travel in like the upcoming weeks. Jesus Christ, bro. Are we cooked?
No one was hurt when an arriving United jet clipped the tail of another United jet that was stationary on the taxiway. That second flight was headed for Houston. It was canceled, and all 162 passengers had to deplane. And this comes as the FAA says nearly 90% of New York air traffic controllers are absent. Frustration is mounting at the nation's airports, where some passengers dealt with long delays.
Was supposed to fly out at 9 p.m., which was already a pretty late flight, and then delayed until 1 a.m.
Some spending the night in terminals, waiting for a flight.
It's not just affecting those employees, it's affecting us too, and it's a huge chain reaction.
In Boston, delays were over 2 hours. At New York's Kennedy Airport, nearly 3 hours, and at Newark International Airport, it was more than an hour. The FAA blames a shortage of air traffic controllers on the government shutdown. Now, 32 days.
Bro, one of the craziest parts about this is that we've talked about this already so many times, but there has already been a shortage in virtually every single air traffic control tower in the country, okay? And that was before the shutdown. And a big part of that problem is because they're just not hiring enough people. And obviously, because they don't have the labor union power, shouts out to Ronald Reagan for that, they can't even fight for it. Hello. What is this? What is happening? Hello. No. Don't go in there. Don't go in there. Don't. No. The shortage has been going on well before the shutdown. I know. That has been a problem. That has been an issue.
Is long. 13,000 controllers missed their first full paycheck on Tuesday.
The added stress, the added strife and angst of not having a paycheck. How are we going to pay our mortgage or our rent and put food on the table for our families? You know, these are things that is a whole added layer of additional stress to what they already deal with.
With more controllers calling out sick, Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy warned this week holiday travel could be even worse.
Our traffic will be snarled, right?
There's already a hiring crisis on the ATC side. And obviously during the shutdown, as I reported, they don't train. They don't train the new people. So they're basically pushing back. For as long as the shutdown remains, there will be no new trained ATC air traffic controllers. So it's cooked. It diminishes the number of existing air traffic controllers. They don't train, so take a train. That's not going to work. There is no... I'm in Los Angeles. If I want to go to New York by train, okay, that's like a week-long process. Do you understand? The fastest route is still like going to be, I think, fucking 48 hours, okay? And it's also more expensive than flying. It sucks. Ironically enough, if there was a more robust railroad structure in this country and that had like high-speed rail, for example, across the continent, you literally would actually take some of the burden off of air traffic control. You would take some of the burden off of air travel in general, and it would make things easier to manage. But we don't do that. We don't ever fix any of the problems. We don't have any interest in fixing any of the fucking problems. We just... They're in a lawsuit on denying applicants on race. And this is the other side of the story. This is the other side of the story. There are dummies out here who unironically think that, like, The air traffic control is actually doing wokeness. Okay? Like, they literally believe it. Brother, you need to understand, this current administration is launching erroneous lawsuits all the time, okay? They're launching ridiculous lawsuits to advance their propaganda so that people like you think, well, there's a legitimate case here. At a certain point, you got to realize, like, it doesn't matter. This is not a real issue of consequence, okay? There is no world where, like, people are just like, nah, we're not fucking training whites for air traffic control. Like, don't be ridiculous. Oh, this occurred during the previous administration. Yes, you are right, chatter. Planes are now crashing because of because of the previous administration's woke initiatives. This is the same principle behind the military. People are so dumb. People think that the military has a recruitment crisis, and amidst that recruitment crisis, they've actually lowered standards for woke. No, they've lowered standards for the recruitment crisis so they can recruit more people. Okay? This is the problem. People want super easy to understand narratives. And Republicans have landed on a gold mine. Republicans have landed on a fucking gold mine with this woke shit. You can just literally look at all of the corrosive elements under capitalism and say, oh, it's just woke and gay. People are just doing it for woke and gay reasons. And then you go, oh yeah, I agree with that. That does seem right to me.
Disaster in aviation.
I assumed something like that was probably happening with the government shutdown, so it makes me a little bit unsettled traveling right now just because of everything that's going on and lack of staffing. But I mean, I have faith in the people who are working, so hopefully we'll get out without a hitch.
And the FAA says it will never compromise on safety. And when these staffing shortages occur, it will reduce the flow of air traffic, which, of course, may result in delays or cancellations. And Dana, already this morning, there are more than 500 flights delayed.
Yeah, bring your patience if you are traveling and make sure to check out there. Allie, thank you.